sit up straight, come on. So, hi, I'm John Langan. Welcome to the 147th Annual Shirley Jackson Awards. Who would have dreamed that what started in simple New England town square with all that screaming and blood would have lasted so long? So I should start by thanking the Lord of the Harvest. On that note, now is the time to get all of the jokes about the rocks out of the way. So whatever you have to say, just lean over to the person next to you and say it, okay? You rock, yeah, we got it. I'm so stoned, yeah, that's terrific. Also, a few of you will have noticed I'm wearing my Slytherin tie. This morning's ceremony is brought to you by House Slytherin. And, to House Ravenclaw, we offer our respect. To House Gryffindor, our unending contempt. And to House Hufflepuff, I'll speak slowly and use It's hard to turn pages when you have a cane. Okay. A few announcements. This weekend, new elections were held for the officers in the Shirley Jackson Consortium. I'm pleased to announce that F. Brett Cox has been elected to president. And Paul Tremblay to vice president. Joanne Cox remains the power behind the throne. And former President Jack Harriga, we thank him for his service. He will be sacrificed to the Lord of the Harvest immediately after the ceremony. You all know what the patio is, so make an orderly exit, okay? We'd like to have this over quickly. And let the locust photographer through to the front, okay? It's, in all seriousness, as ever, thank you to Readercon for hosting us. It's hard to believe that we've been doing this for as long as we have. It only feels like 147 years. It's really only 146. I'm going to get out of the way and pass everything over to Sarah Langan. I want to say she's not related, but let's face it, who knows, right? So later today, we're going to be launching our GoFundMe campaign to fund our 23andMe, so give generously. Thank you.
We're totally related. We've been lying all this time.
It's so great to be here. I haven't been able to come to Readercon in years.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. And I haven't spoken publicly in years to come out of my house. So there's so many new faces, and I feel like it speaks to the vitality of the genre. And I'm so glad to be able to meet all of you, new faces and old. And it's exciting that Jackson's work is seeing a renaissance in speculative fiction. It's a great time to be in horror, and I think it's really exciting. Let's see, we founded this award 11 years ago to recognize the works of Shirley Jackson and her literary children, and this room is filled with them. So, the estate of Shirley Jackson has been super supportive of us in this award, and we're very thankful for her. Our hope in this endeavor was to foster a community of writers of speculative fiction. It seemed like before this award that no one knew what to do with us. And maybe, like Shirley, they still don't, but at least we had each other. This award is made possible by a lot of people. I'd like to recognize especially our diligent administrator, Joanne Cox, who and does so much of the work. The board of advisors have been stalwart in their support. Two members are here today, Ellen Datlow and Liz Hand. Would you please stand up and be recognized? Please stand. The jurors this year were a standout. They were collaborative in the face of an enormous amount of reading material. We have one of them here today. So Kate and Eliana, would you please stand up? Would you also please stand up? Finally, would all the past winners and nominees please stand up? These people have rocks, don't mess with them. We're honored this year to have Readercon's Guest of Honor as our co-host. It's my pleasure to introduce Tanana Dew.
Hello, everybody. So this is when I make my speech. Thank you so much. I am really, really excited to be here. So first of all, thank you so much to Readercon and especially Program Chair Rose Fox for helping me return to that second part of my family. When I first started publishing in 1995, as some of you might know, I was published under the Black literature boom, and a lot of my marketing, readership, and booksellers were in that community that was so starved for representation, and they didn't care if it was horror. They were like, yes, just bring us more. And when I went to my first Bram Stoker Awards, it was like meeting a side of my family I had never met before. It was like, oh wow, okay. The horror community is here too. And just because of the way marketing and time have worked, I feel like I'm just now starting to come back to this side of my family. And I've had a lot of fun interacting with so many of my fellow authors and readers and all of you. So thank you so much for having me here. Shirley Jackson has seen a resurgence, as all of you know. Of course, the Netflix series Haunting of Hill House, which of course you probably have mixed feelings about, but it's there and a lot of people like it. So her name is on a lot of people's lips right now. And of course, like a lot of you, my first exposure to Shirley Jackson was through that fantastic short story, The Lottery, which resonates so strongly now, even more so than ever in some ways. It's really just the mark of a great artist that such a short piece of literature can have an impact on so many. So I'm really honored to be here to co-host the Shirley Jackson Awards, whose past winners, of course, as you all know, include Elizabeth Hand and Victor LaBelle, Karen Joy Fowler, Neil Gaiman, Jimmy Ford, Carmen Maria Machado, and of course, Stephen King. Congrats to all the nominees. Do not throw your stones. And congratulations in advance to the winners. My co-guest of honor, Stephen Graham Young.
Yeah. Very good. Man, tonight are you guys together enough to do extemporaneous remarks. I've got prepared remarks. Let's see. Everybody's always talking about the opening lines of The Haunting of Hill House. I want to talk about the end. Here's how it ends. Mrs. Sanderson was enormously relieved to hear what Dr. Montague and his party left Hill House. And then Theodora gets home, Luke goes to Paris, Montague writes his article. But the last we saw of Eleanor, just lines before, it was that crashing second before she pulled her car into the tree, where she's thinking, why am I doing this? Why don't they stop me? So, by not mentioning Eleanor in this like Ridgemont High wrap-up, where we hear that she hired Van Halen to play her wake or whatever, we're wondering, what happened to Eleanor? It's a big section break, but where's Eleanor? But before we can flip the page back, see if we missed something, the opening of the book starts up again. Hill House itself, not sane, stood against its hills, holding darkness within. It had stood so for 80 years and might stand for 80 more. Within, its walls continued upright, bricks met neatly, floors were firm, and doors were sensibly shut. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there, walked alone. That repetition, that wonderful surprising return, it's not for bookending, it's not just for structure, It's at its most basic level, asking us to recognize what's different this time, what's different this time through those lines, what's missing. So when you flip back in your mind, where you can't really articulate it, what's missing at the end of the book that was there at the beginning is no live organism can continue to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. In the beginning of the novel, the parallel subjects in the opening two sentences are whispering to us that Hill House is for sure and for certain that live organism. Listen, no live organism can continue to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against the hills. But now, at the end of the novel, now Eleanor is that live organism that has for longer than she could stand, been trying to continue to exist sanely under the oppressive conditions of her absolute reality. So at the end, where we're all leaning forward to wait to hear how Eleanor's car wreck turned out, what Shirley Jackson masterfully and so obliquely delivers, both using absence to emphasize and repetition to highlight, is that whatever walked in Hill House is first not Hill House, since Hill House is now the there of whatever walked there. And second, it's Eleanor, but it's an Eleanor who is no longer a who, but is now the what of whatever. Eleanor's become a thing, not a person. She's dead, and this is where she's going to live out her death, walking these halls, dreaming these dreams. But of course, since we all now live in this house Shirley Jackson built around us, Eleanor doesn't walk alone. Thank you, Shirley Jackson.